Welcome, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you tuned in here at Tarot Parlor. Today's message is going to be hopefully groundbreaking for you. I know this message is the message you need to hear right now. You've probably just gotten used to the abuse. You've gotten used to living the same old way, having the same obstacles and everything else. But right now, the universe wants you to know that this urgent message that's coming in today is justice is finally being served in your favor. That's right. And here's the deal. Universe is recognizing what the narcissists and jealous people in your life have been doing to you. And they're recognizing this as nothing more than a vicious attack because they aren't talented and gifted and called by the universe in the level or ways that you are, and they're very jealous of what you've got. They don't have the faith. Let me say that again. They do not have the faith that you have. They don't believe in the power and the love of the universe, and you do. You see? Do you see? That's why you were gifted. Because you have a connection with the divine and the universe. You do. And you have family members, friends, cousins, aunts, uncles, babysitters, boyfriends of your mother, girlfriends of your father, stepmoms, stepdads, a plethora of people that have been close to you that if they themselves had taken the time to connect with universe and get to know universe and get to know the divine, if they would have taken that time, first of all, they would have been a blessing in your life because they would have recognized you as being called. That's right. And when you see somebody that's called, you can recognize that gift and not be jealous of it, but be happy that that gift is going, you are around the person that is a gateway for universe to make change, to make blessings, and also to connect yourself with further, for you yourself to link to universe further. But these people have a hard time hearing spirit, okay? They have an extremely hard time hearing divine, the voice of divine. They have a hard time hearing spirit. They have a hard time visualizing the truths, okay, that are out there. They just don't, they can't. And that's what they hate about you. Because you live in this state of constant downloads, constant communication, and you are literally embraced and held by God and angels and the universe. Every day of your life, even when they do their worst to you, you are still comforted and held and protected by God. And they can't stand you because of it. So here's the thing. These people, all these people that I mentioned, remember I mentioned aunts and uncles, cousins, boyfriends and girlfriends of parents, step-parents, maybe even your own parents and siblings themselves, the closest ones to you, might be the ones, the very ones that have hated on you your whole life because of your connection to the voice of God. Okay? To that communication from angels. And they think that what they did was, because they couldn't hear it, they went ahead and connected in dark magic, thinking in competition, right? They were in competition with you in their own mind. Okay, not really, but in their own mind, they were in competition with you. So they tried to level up and outdo you. Okay, maybe so they could shine in front of that grandparent that had favor in you because of your gifts or whoever it was. And what they did was tried to level up in a dark occult so that they could quickly get gifted, quickly be able to outdo you spiritually, quickly make those connections, right? They thought that was going to be an instant ramen kind of thing. And it didn't happen. They got something instantly, but it was spiritual torment because what they were reaching out for was wrong and to be wrong to somebody. So they literally played with the devil and now they owe their soul. Literally. And their whole family's been in torment, the whole lot of them. And they just hate you more the more they get indebted for trying to outdo you. Okay? That is the download that I'm getting. And I want to go ahead and show you my little cards I worked out here. So they think your gifts, they think they own your spiritual gifts. And they're wrong. Now, I'm going to say that again. How crazy does somebody have to be to think that they own somebody's spiritual gifts? Now, when you were a child, they saw you were gifted from birth. They knew it. Okay, they just knew it. They felt the presence on you. And what they did was watched you your whole childhood with hate. Because they watched you listening to angels. And the things that came out of your mouth when you first started speaking was love and understanding. And the kind of things that God has to bless somebody with in order for somebody to know. People don't know that as a child. Some children don't even know that. It takes people ages to come to these kind of understandings. And you were gifted with it as a child. And you would just have wisdom and knowledge implanted right in your communication. And they were like, wanted to take it. That's ours. Since you were a child, they thought they could steal candy from a baby. That they could steal your spiritual gifts by just saying it was theirs. Right? And eventually it would implant on them. That's what they thought would happen. That they would get it through osmosis. No. You were born gifted. Anybody can be gifted if they choose to make that connection with divine. Okay? You possibly had that connection in your past life. It's not up to them to decide because it was decided before you were born. You were born with the gifts that you have. And they've tried to darken them and close them off so their dark cult gifts look better than you. Okay? So they can downplay you and upplay the nothing that they still have. But they are trying to take credit for everything. What you were born with, they're trying to take credit for it. Now, not only did they try to steal it and say that it was theirs and that you stole it. Okay? And I'll tell you how they say you stole it in a second. They're trying to take credit for it. So how do they do that? Okay. So, maybe, this is what I said earlier, that it could be your mom, your father, their spouse, everybody. But because you spent time with their mother or grandfather, their mother or father, their grandfather or grandmother, the hierarchy person in the family, because you spent time with them and you may have been favored by them, the rest of the family is saying that that hierarchy person gave you all the gifts. And they want to fight you for it like they want to fight for an inheritance. Did you hear me? They want to fight you for your gifts like an inheritance. But you were born with them. The hierarchies did not give them to you. It was divine. And that's why divine gifted you before birth. And you directly, like gifted you directly, not through the hands of a hierarchy, okay, through a monarch or through a matriarch or a patriarch. The reason you weren't gifted through a matriarch or a patriarch is because God didn't want those gifts going to that family, to those family members, because they knew that those people were selling gifts, that they were using gifts like, that scripture in the Bible where Jesus comes to town and he sees in the chapel, right, in the church area, that the tables are set up and people are selling things. And it made him sick to his stomach. He got angry and he tore those tables apart with a whip. And he was like, not in God's house. You ain't doing this. You know, you're not perverting God's house for selling things. You're not doing it. And that's because, you know, you just don't. It's something holy. And your gifts are holy. And God didn't want these people that would try to exchange it for a coin or exchange it for anything else or use it in an ill manner in a way that was unholy. Okay? These people that I'm talking about, okay, are not holy. I'm not saying that you're perfect or that you are holy, but I am saying that you pick yourself back up when you realize you've done wrong. You connect to what is right. You balance it out. You weigh it out. You ask for forgiveness, and you try to live better and make amends for things that you've done. You try to consecrate your sins. Okay? These people just expect you to live with what they do to you. And it's never enough. They're going to continue and continue and continue and continue. So let me go ahead and write this down. Let me get a pen and a little piece of paper here. So it's not matriarchal. That means, you know, coming from your mother, or patriarchal, coming from your father. So it's not coming from your mother or your father. This is not handed down. These gifts are not handed down. These gifts are literally, divinely given only to you, to your DNA. They align with your DNA and your DNA alone. No one else's. Nobody else gets these gifts. If they want gifts, they need to listen to God so they can get their own. And like I said, all they're out to do is take yours. And that's what they're used to doing. Okay? They're used to finding a way in with the patriarchs. Let me get over here. They're used to finding their way in with all the... That's why they smooch people's butts. Kiss around and tell people how wonderful they are. That's why they kiss butt all the time. Brown nosers with everybody. Because they get in there and find out who the matriarch and patriarch of the family is. They find out who's in charge of handing down the gifts. And then they go, oh, I want to be like so-and-so. I want to be like... And they get to be a part of it, you know, because that's a human nature kind of thing to do. Anyway, that's how they've learned to get gifted or get what they... get their blessings. And that's not the way this one goes. This one is literally for your DNA. Do I have any more blank cards? I'm just going to say DNA activated. Sorry, I misspelt it. DNA activated. Okay, so this message is coming in right now. That's why I'm making these as we go, because it was enough. When I started getting this message, it really just lit me up emotionally, because I can't stand this kind of behavior, and I know God can't stand it either. But it's DNA activated. They can't touch it. So one thing they can do, what's the one thing they can do if they can't touch it? Do you know? It's what they've been doing to you. They smother it. They abuse it. They dismiss it. okay? Because they're going to hate you if they can't have instead of you. And why? Because your matriarchs and your patriarchs, the people they try to impress, know that your gifts were given to you at birth. Where is it? La la la. That you were born gifted. And it impresses the matriarchs and patriarchs. So since you've literally, divine God has impressed the matriarchs and patriarchs by gifting you, they hate you for it. But that's why God's protecting you, because you're part of his plan. And these people are part of his plan too. Okay? Just like Moses and the Pharaoh, right? The Pharaoh was still part of God's plan. Every story, every person is part of God's plan. We choose our role by how we choose to act. And this is how they're choosing to act. They've made their choices. Right? And there we go. So now you know why these people hate you, which you already knew that. You already knew. But God is saying justice is going to happen for you now. Now that you're aware of this, first off, you know you can't be around these people because all they're going to try to do is steal that gift or smother it out of you more. Okay, they're going to tarnish your light as much as they can because they do not want you shining. You know, having these gifts and shining, they don't want it. Remember that you are fulfilled by love, and these people don't love you. They don't love you because they can't get past. There may have been love there for you, and they would have, but that love is covered up by their jealousy for your gifts. Okay? Clear your karma, because these feelings that you've had about wanting justice or anything else, you're right on. Give it to God. Let God do what he needs to do. And don't play with the abusers. Clear your karma. Okay? Don't entangle yourself again with these people. Truth is your teacher. Stay to truth. Okay? Let's see if there's one more card. We'll flip these around. Raise your vibration. Okay? How you raise your vibration. This card came in specifically because of one thing. They've lowered your vibration by the narcissistic things they've done to you. These jealous family members, friends, cousins, even siblings. They've lowered your vibrations. They've caused you, when you were a teen, to want to be a runaway. They caused you to go out and do things just to get out of the anguish and the torture that they had put you through emotionally. Yeah, they literally tortured you like a concentration camp emotionally. And they're still doing it. And they still talk bad about you. And they're still putting you down. And they're still accusing you of drugs. And they're still accusing you of everything because they can't let you shine. So let them go. Clear your karma. And know that that's what it was all along. And raise your vibration. Okay? Because when you raise your vibration, that's you being focused on your gifts. When you raise your vibration, then your gifts are going to be stronger. You're going to come back into all that peace that you used to have that they couldn't stand you having. All right, let's get a deck of cards here. Okay, let's see about these family members. It's a love-hate kind of thing, guys. It's a love-hate kind of thing. And that's why God's going to take care of them. There is love for you, but the jealousy, like I said, is what overrides that relationship. They have rejected you. Do you understand that they've rejected your gifts? Oh, I know that hurts. And I know that's harsh. But they have rejected your gifts. But it's not your gifts that they rejected. They've rejected God. Do you see? They rejected God's order. Because God chose to do an order that was outside of lineage, matriarch, patriarch, and however, because God didn't want anything being. God doesn't like His gifts being fought over, or negativity touching them in that way. So they rejected it because they wanted their plan over God's plan. Do you see? Their plan was more important than God's plan. But honey, you're part of God's plan. You are. I'm sorry for laughing so loud, but this is it. It's your spiritual gifts. You got to focus on that. Just focus on love, light, your spiritual gifts, be positive, connect, you might be psychic, whatever. Focus on your spiritual gifts because they've already rejected you. It doesn't matter what they think. Okay? All right, so let's find out from a different card deck how this justice is going to be served. Here's some more oracles. So let's just take a look at these. Pop one out of the center. Because you've been wishing for justice, and God's going to grant it. And the outcome may not be exactly what you were thinking, but it's going to be what they rejected. And that's God's plan. It's going to be part of God's plan, okay? So don't reject it just because it doesn't come in as harsh as you want it to. God's never through when he takes over and he hands out that justice. Okay, it's just the beginning. Anything else? The answers are going to unfold to you. There's more than meets the eye about what these people have done to you that you don't understand. And it's all going to unfold. You only have to focus on this. And staying away from them. Okay? As much as you possibly can. All right. Now, what card deck is this one? That's the fairy one. Oh, I just don't know what card deck to use. We'll check out this wizard deck. Make sure it's up right. Justice is being served. What do we need to know about this justice being served? You got the Queen of Wands. So this is a high stakes energy, okay? So this could be exhaustion. But it could just be you're about ready to get your feistiness back, okay? And that's going to counter what they've been doing. It's going to give you confidence and self-assurance. So your confidence and self-assurance in your spiritual gifts are the key thing here. Let me put this up here. In your spiritual gifts, that's the key thing. The Star. Okay, so this is going to be, in a sense, about fulfillment, but also it's about renewal. Balance and renewal. So this usually, okay, I love this card. It's absolutely beautiful. There's usually a woman who's standing in water. She's got like 1 foot in a river, and she's holding a pitcher and pouring into the water. And that's about renewal. Okay, with the largest star in the night sky, which is right here, the Sirius star, the dog star, right in back of her. Okay, so you're going to be divinely guided to renewal. And I'm not joking because that card came out. You're going to be divinely guided to renewal. So mostly what I'm seeing here is God's going to take care of these people. He's going to get them. Do you understand? He's going to get them. But it may not unfold right away. It may not unfold the way you think. But if you stay away from them, you're staying out of it and it won't touch you. You focus on your energy, your spiritual gifts, you see, and that's going to create a bubble of protection around you. For you to have renewal, your gifts are going to renew you. And it's going to be amazing. Your life going forward is going to be a well-watered spring, okay? A divine spring from God. But you've got the Two of Swords here, and that means you've got to make a choice. Is it going to be your gifts or your family? And God's leaving that up to you. Is it your gifts or your family? You got to have strength here. Don't deal with them in hate and angry is what this card is saying. If you dealt with this dragon wrong, you know, with all that anger or anything, what's going to happen, right? God is saying with this card that he's going to turn them into your little pet. And I don't mean like a toy. I mean, he's going to change this around. You may not ever be able to trust them, but they won't be able to bite you again. You get it? Because of how you present yourself, the temperament in which you present yourself. So show your softer side and just stay away while God does his work. Page of Wands, okay? So he's going to give you, they may have crushed your ideas about your spiritual path, but this is saying you're going to get a new idea about your spiritual path. So don't worry about that. Focus on your gifts. Okay, so let's see. What's going to come for these people? What's coming for them? Two of Wands. So with the Two of Wands, they're going to be waiting for results. Okay? And it's going to take a while for them to come in. They're not going to get them until they learn to answer to God. Until they take, you know what I'm saying? God, in other words, God's going to say, look, if you don't stop your baloney, then you aren't going to get the answers you're looking for. You've thwarted my plans. I'm going to hold up yours. And that's what's going to happen. Four of Cups. They're going to be missing things, okay? Really, and this is literally what's going on with them. They've missed what could have been their divine calling by focusing on other people's fulfillment. Cups are fulfillment. And they've totally missed theirs. And they're going to continue to miss it while you get fulfilled, while you get renewed, right? While you get divine renewal from a spring from heaven. And they're just going to miss out. Okay? So that's what's going to happen. As far as, is anybody going to go to jail? Queen of Cups. As you can see, this Queen of Cups is in water. She's in an ocean. They're going to be in prison, which they already are pretty much, from the mentally. They're going to be in a mental prison, thinking about the ruins of their life. Okay, that means they could actually go to jail, but they're going to be thinking about the ruins of their life instead of happiness, instead of fulfillment. Okay. So that's what's going to go on, and you're going to go about your way being gifted. Okay, be blessed.